Around and around we go. Where do we go? Nobody knows, except I do. And today we're going to talk about Japan's different phone plans. When I was talking about the startup hurdles for living in Japan, I mentioned Sakura Mobile, GTN Mobile, and Mobile Mobile as beginner phone plans for foreigners because they're foreign friendly and they will send out your eSIM, not your eSIM, they will send out your physical SIM to you so you can have a Japanese phone number. Now that you are in Japan, I'm hoping you've already settled in, you moved in, you got your Zairyu card, and possibly your My Number card. You are now looking to find a different phone company. So I'm going to kind of break down what options are available, and you guys can do your research further. So there's going to be two terms I'm going to need to talk about, and that is your MNO and your NBNO. So MNO is just your mobile network operators. These are phone companies that have their own network. So if you're used to the US, this is like AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, Verizon. These are your major carriers, your big carriers. They are their own internet service provider. All right. Next term is your mobile virtual network operator, acronym NBNO. These are your sub carriers. In the US, you will see this as Metro, Boost, or Cricket because they are going to be using the major carriers' line of internet or phone calls. So just like Metro is to T-Mobile, there are companies that are major carriers and ones that are underneath them for a cheaper price. So if you're looking for the cheaper ones, you're going to look for the NVNOs. If you're looking for one that has priority for your internet service, then you're going to probably look for MNOs. So disclaimer reminder, you are going to need your Alien card or your Zairyu card. For each phone company, you have to prove you are a resident in Japan now. Not that you will be, that you are now. And the only way you can do that is through a My Number card or your Alien card, which comes once you filled out your lease. Without further ado, here are the plans. So your MNO is Docomo NTT, and their subcarrier is Ahamo. You have Rakuten Mobile, which is its own carrier. It's an MNO, but it does not have an NBNO. It might. Then you have SoftBank. SoftBank has two NBNOs, and that is Y Mobile and LineMo. And then there is one final one, which is AU. I will first start with Docomo. Docomo, DT or NTT, you can hear it either way. They're typically put in the top three, and they have locations all around, so you can go into the store and set it up. Because it's an MNO, it's going to be up there, but the pricing doesn't look like it's higher than SoftBank. As mentioned, they do have Docomo Internet, and that's one of the top internet service providers. The only downside to this, if you're a foreigner and you're not fluent in Japanese, is the fact that this main website is in Japanese. It's typically the papers and everything is going to be in Japanese. If you sign up for a phone plan, just make sure that it does not matter if it's translated, if the translations aren't accurate. Just putting it out there. Now we're on to the subcarrier, which is Ahamo, which is Docomo's NBNO. Pros to this one is that it's one of the cheapest phone plans on this list. It gives you free international data. I think they let you use your internet to do international roaming, or they'll give you like a separate one, like maybe 5 GB or something. This gives you a lot of data for a little bit of the price, and they have online application. Downside to this one is everything is in Japanese. There is not an English version of this. You cannot put your children into this plan. So if you're looking for a family plan, if they are not 18 and up, there's no reason for you to have this plan. This is also a plan because it's an NVNO. They allow it to be fully virtual, which means no stores. So if you have any issues, you got to go through the internet or their contact center to get everything done. And everything that you would need help with, you must be able to translate into Japanese and thus have that Japanese translated into English. If you are ready for that, take it on. If not, I recommend going with another company. Also, this phone company is bring your own phone. I think if you look on their site, they might allow you to buy phones, but you got to make sure that your phone is not carrier locked. Carrier locked just means it's not attached to one company. So you can bring an international unlocked phone, but you have to figure out if that phone is compatible with it. So you have to do more research on that. All right, our next phone company is Rakuten Mobile. This is an MNO company. It has its pros, it has its cons. I use it now. So understand what I'm telling you is going to be biased based on experience. All right, here's the pros to it. Pros is that they have stores everywhere. It's very easy to get help. I was able to use my international phone in Rakuten Mobile. You just have to make sure it can be supported by their company. You can buy a phone from Rakuten Mobile if you would like. They typically have them there, and depending on if you're a new customer, they'll give you some form of discount. Which goes into the next pro of it, is that typically Rakuten has a lot of campaigns for newcomers, and depending on when you get into it, it can almost help you pay for your phone plans for months on end. Also, the one thing about Rakuten Mobile is you do not have a default amount of internet. So basically, is all you can have internet, but depending on how much internet you use, depends on the price that you will pay afterwards. So you're only going to get paid for the data you use. So if you use less data for 1 month, then you'll pay a lesser price. That's the pros of it. Now I'm going to jump into the cons. Cons is there's a limited amount of phones that are compatible, international, and domestic. So you will have to look on their website if you really want to switch to Rakuten Mobile. Now, the newcomer bonus or the campaigns that you see, they have requirements. And most of the time, those requirements are that you have to stay with that phone company, which is Rakuten Mobile, for around 6 months or so. Anything less than that will make you ineligible for the campaign and thus can create a higher cost that you would have to pay back if you decide to leave. The downside is because they charge you for internet as you go, there is no set amount. And depending on if they do any price changes, you will have to pay the new price for it. I don't like that sometimes, but if it goes up, then your monthly price goes up. And then I guess one of the biggest cons when you talk about Rakuten Mobile is that the internet isn't always the best. So the way that it works is you can get internet service, but depending on whether or not there's heavy traffic, people traffic, should I say, or a lot of congestion, your services will slow down and or can be rendered non-existent depending on who Rakuten gives priority to. So you could be dead in Shibuya where all of the service could be wonderful, but because there are so many people trying to use Rakuten at one time, there is a possibility that you will not be able to load anything using your Rakuten. And not only that, the Rakuten Mobile, it has like two apps. One is for your portal. So it shows you how much you're paying, your payment history, what the cost was. The second app is called MyLink. And that is where you can call and get things done at a cheaper price. Because if you call using your regular phone and it's higher than 5 minutes, then they will charge you a different rate using that app versus you using your regular phone, basically. So you're going to be dealing with two different costs. If you don't really like that, then I'll just say you can go somewhere else. Next is SoftBank. SoftBank has one of the top internet service. When people talk about best internet companies, mostly mentioned is SoftBank. To me, SoftBank could be seen as a higher price because of the internet being one of the best. They typically offer the most expensive, no, I won't say most expensive. The quality of the internet matches the quantity in your cost. That's how I'll say it. Now, how can you get help? Well, with SoftBank, there are English speaking stores according to their website. Typically, they're going to be around the Shibuya and Shinjuku area. They do have some hybrid stores, but I don't know. I'll kind of explain that later on. But if you go to their site, they also have other plans, but all of those plans are in Japanese. So they have like English plans that are kind of able to help out. I think they have military discount for American foreigners, American military base, but don't hold me to that. You'll have to look on their website to confirm. And I would say maybe another con for SoftBank is the fact that there is limited transfer opportunity. So because they're on like a different type of LTE wavelength than other phone companies, you have to make sure that wherever you're getting your phone from, it is compatible to the wavelength of SoftBank. So you have to make sure your LTE is similar to SoftBank if you're planning to switch from one phone company to another. I do not know how good the internet compatibility is. I would say typically they take the same models. Apple products are usually okay, and then certain Samsung, I think it's the latest ones, can go. I haven't seen ones for like OnePlus or anything of that nature, just because those are unique phones. So yeah, just keep your head up. Next, we are talking about SoftBank's MVNO. First one is Y Mobile. Y Mobile is the I would say upper quality, maybe upper portion of their MVNOs. So typically when I see a SoftBank store, it's a SoftBank that has the symbol of Y Mobile. Yes, Yahoo is still used. I know, surprising. But when you come here, you have Yahoo Transit, Yahoo.com, and Y Mobile, the phone company. So when it comes down to them, pro is you get SoftBank internet for typically a lower price. They have a lot more stores than I've seen than just SoftBank in and of itself. So you should be able to get support. I have not seen them talk about English support for Y Mobile. So you might just have to go with a translation device or somebody who cares about you that will be willing to assist you. They do offer a lot of data and you can also do it online. Now, when we talk about the cons, because it's like a slight step down and there are a lot of stores, they do have to match their quality with their quantity in cost, the quantity in yen. Most of the time, the sites and stores are again in Japanese, so just be prepared for that. And there's a limitation to the internet usage for international travel. I don't know if you have to pay an extra cost to have international data, or if they limit the amount of data you can use on your regular phone plan for international traveling. You would have to look that up on your own. I haven't heard people complain about it, but at the same time, You never know. Now we're gonna look at Line Mo, which is the, I would say, the step down from Y Mobile, or the most, how do I say it? The most affordable plan of SoftBank's MVNOs. So, pro is you're using SoftBank internet. I still vouch for SoftBank internet for a while. I don't know anymore, but when I had it, I never really had a complaint, and I was able to use it while I was on the train ride from here to Matsumoto Castle using a local line. So, if you know anything about Chofu trying to get to Matsumoto, you'll understand. This is also one of the cheaper phone plans, if not one of the top two cheapest phone plans. It gives you a lot of data, and you can use that data for international roaming. The downsides are that it is online only. You might see ads talking about how there is some form of English support. If my knowledge is correct, which it could be outdated, it's the fact that they have like an English setup manual, but everything else is going to have to be carried out in Japanese. Typically, when I hear setup, it's like a guide, papers to kind of give you a picture by picture way to set up your internet. And if you have any problems, you're going to need to explain that in Japanese to the Japanese phone company in there. But I think the other downside is it seems like you have to have a line account, and I put surprisingly strict, but I don't remember why. Right. And the last one is AU Mobile. Pro is its own phone company, MNO. So there's that. AU typically has good internet because they have home internet as well. So if you wanted home internet and a phone plan to go together, they do have various phone plans. And there's something called Mountain Hut Internet. I think what the Mountain Hut Internet is trying to say is that if you get into a mountainous area, you would most likely still have some form of internet. Because when I read it, it was talking about how it could still be reached even in mountainous areas while traveling. And if you do decide to travel throughout Japan, you will realize that a lot of the area is mountainous. So that is a good plus side for those who want to travel. What's the downside? The downsides are there's not as many stores as the other companies. Support and setup are going to be only in Japanese. It, because of its internet quality, I'm going to say again, the quality of the internet matches the quantity of yen you are going to spend. So take that what it will. And the only other thing is that AU, out of all of them, seems to be the least talked about. So I can't really give more information other than that. I tried to look on their website, but I kept having to translate it over and over again. Finally, here are a few things that you need to look out for once you think you found your phone company. Look at the campaign price. Now, typically, we might hear in the US like as a starter price, the bundle price, your special price that lasts for a certain amount of time. Just make sure that when you're reading it, especially with your phone plan, if you're trying to buy a new phone, that you understand what the campaign price is and what you'll be paying afterwards. So sometimes they'll give you a discount on your phone instead of it being your phone plan. Sometimes they'll give you a discount on your phone plan and not your phone. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's neither. Just use your discernment. Number two, your transfer requirements. Typically, if you're going to try to take your phone number from any of the starter phone companies, or even the phone companies trying to go from one phone company to another one, you have to get an NPN, which is your mobile network portable number. MNP, like a mobile network portable number. What does that mean? Layman's term is just basically getting yourself a transfer permission from one phone company to go use that same line or phone number at another company. Just make sure your mobile company can give you that, and make sure if you have signed up for it that it's even allowed. So if you were with Mobile and you got the light version, they're not going to transfer your number. Once you leave that phone company, it's done so. I don't know about Sakura Mobile. I don't know if they will allow you to do MNP, but if they don't, that means you're stuck with that phone company. And once you leave that phone company, you're going to need to get yourself a new number. So if you're fine with losing that number, I recommend when you first get here and start moving that you go ahead and transfer immediately out. Because if you don't, you're going to have everything tied to that first phone number, and that could be a hassle to just try to get it changed. Good luck with that. Next thing to look out for, your discount price. Typically, when you look on the website, the cost in red is typically the discounted price after the campaign and being able to put a certain credit card on file. So Rakuten Mobile has like a Rakuten card. SoftBank, I don't know what card they have. Docomo has like a Docomo card. I don't know about AU, but some of them will allow for any credit card to be put on file, and they'll do the discounted price. Some require a certain type of credit card to be put on file, so that way they can do the discounted rate. Yep, and then the last one is buy compatible phones. So when you're buying a phone, you need to make sure that the phone you buy in one company is transferable to another company. You need to look at the requisites. So that just means if you want to transfer from Rakuten Mobile to SoftBank to AU to Docomo, you need to make sure that they are compatible to be switched. I would recommend you going to the store in and of itself and looking at what transfer options are. I would say my Samsung 23 FE works with Rakuten Mobile. So if you want to try that, you can. I don't know if it'll work anywhere else because the Samsung 23 FE isn't a common one. Each site should list what phones are compatible and which ones are not. And sometimes they list it down to a certain serial number. And I don't know if that's like the type of phone itself or if that is the type of wavelength. Don't get me started on that. And yeah, that is it. Around and around we go. Where did we go? We went and we talked about phone plans in Japan, and I will see you around.